I'm Eduardo, Sicilia,
and today we will talk about cover 4, determine the defensive players' assignments, and how to beat them. Just like the cover 2 and cover 3, cover 4 is a strictly zone-based coverage. In the regular cover 4, like we know, we will have 4 defenders dividing the deep end of the defense. At the same time, we will have 3 short or intermediate zones. Our outside linebackers will be responsible for any short or intermediate routes that attack pretty much from the hashes to the sideline. Our middle linebacker will do the same, but cover from hash to hash. And at last, we will have both our corners and our safeties covering each a fourth of the field in the deep end. Just like with any other cover, the cover 4 has different variations. First, we'll talk about cover 4 press. Just like the name suggests, the corners will be playing press, while the safeties might be a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. The second variation is the cover 4 cut. This variation is used against a 3x1 set, where the isolated receiver is in a tight split. In such case, in which this receiver attacks in a slant or a crossing route underneath, the safety will be the one to follow him across, which will expand the cornerback's responsibility, as he would have to cover pretty much half of the field now. This variation is normally used with 2 purposes. One of them is for the linebackers not to be in a bad matchup, as they have to cover huge spaces on this type of cover. And the second one is to avoid getting the cornerback following that receiver, while allowing a deep crossing route that would go in front of the face of the safety, turning that into a really difficult route to cover. The third variation is the cover 4 box. On this one, there's no assignment changes when it comes to the zones, but it's used in a situation where the opposing team is deploying a bunch formation, which they normally do to confuse defenses when it comes to their routes and their releases. The defenders will do a box, just like the name says, and according to their zones, they will take the first outbreaking route, the second outbreaking route, on this side the first in-breaking route, and the second in-breaking route. The fourth variation is the cover 4 push. This one is also used against a 3x1 set, but the isolated receiver is actually a tight end. In the case where this one stays to block, the safety from that side will go and assist the triplet side, either by turning into a robber or by simply staying put, waiting for a crossing route that attacks his zone. And finally, we have the cover 4 zorro. One of the best passing concepts to attack cover 4 is called scissors, which is a corner route by the inside receiver and a post route by the outside receiver. When they cross, they normally cause conflict between the safety and the corner, which leaves one of the two wide open. So the zorro adjustment will simply allow them to exchange routes by making a switch. They will communicate it, the safety will take the post, and the corner will take the corner route. The defender's assignment in cover 4, just like in any other zone coverage, is the one of covering whoever enters their zone. Now, as we can realize, this cover is designed to stop deep passes. It will normally be used in long yardage situations. This is why all our defenders will prioritize the deep routes and will try to force the offense to throw shorter passes to come down and make the tackle. There are 6 crucial points of attack to beat a cover 4. Number 1, like always, you gotta make sure we're actually facing a cover 4. We gotta use pre-snap and post-snap clues and hints. Number 2, we gotta determine in what situations do we find ourselves in. Why are they deploying a cover 4? Is there not a lot of time in the clock before the half or the game? Are we on a long distance situation? Are we gonna go for it on 4th down? The answers to all these questions might influence our decisions, and they can benefit us or affect us in a negative way. So we gotta be aware of all that. For example, if we face a 3rd and 20 and we're willing to go for it in 4th down, then we have the ability to plan to get that distance in 2 plays, rather than in just 1. Number 3, we gotta attack vulnerable zones. Against this cover, we can pretty much bank that the short routes will be there. They're gonna gift us that. There's only 3 players covering 53 yards. But outside of that, we can also find weaknesses on the outside part of the corner zone. And if we're able to push the defense vertically, we can find spaces between the 2nd level defenders and the 3rd level defenders. Number 4, if we have determined that we have to go for a deep pass, going against the strength of the defense, we gotta make sure of 2 things. First, create time for the quarterback to throw the pass. They are probably gonna rush us with less people than normal, so we gotta be able to pass protect for longer than normal. And second, we gotta be running routes that find themselves in our quarterback's arm range. It doesn't matter if our receiver is wide open 80 yards down the field if our quarterback is not Patrick Mahomes. Number 5. Conflict. We gotta create conflict between the defenders. Like we explained, attack their zone with 2 routes and make them choose. For example, the concept of meals or pin, as known in other systems, is made up of a deep dig route and a post. Here the read key will be the safety. If he stays back and covers the post, we'll take the dig route. Now if the safety comes down to help with the dig, we'll go over his head to the post. And last but not least, number 6, tendencies. Just like with the rest of the other covers, we gotta study their tendencies. Now, it is pretty hard to find a tendency's weakness when it comes to this cover because it's normally not used a lot throughout the game. And when it is, it's in a situation where the coaches are screaming that they don't want anyone to get beat over the top. They don't want to give big plays, to say the least. However, we can study what type of adjustment and variation they might use against our certain formations or plays. If we determine what they like to do on certain circumstances, we might be able to use that on our advantage later on in the game. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe. Once again, I'm Eduardo, Sicilia, and this was 2% Football Camp.